I remember seeing this place when Alex bought it, and I said to him, well, first off, you're going to get flooded out. And second, you got a vertical property here. So what possibly can you do with this? And then, you know, the subsequent visits, you could see it being transformed into this remarkable little jewel of a place, really. And I hope maybe it could become the Cockburn Institute for Clear Prose or Clear Thinking or something. You know, we could certainly, we'll certainly miss him in Boonville. He said to me a couple times, well, I was on one trip here, I arrived, and I said, hey, I was jogging in Eureka, and somebody threw a beer bottle at me. And he said, I hope it was full. Jogging's the stupidest possible thing you could be doing. And he often said to me, he said, you're the only person I know who has more enemies than I do. I said, well, he said, I operate in a Lilliput, you know. So do the calculus here. You have a lot more than me, but I'm working on it, and maybe today, if I'm lucky, I'll have a few more by the time I leave. So I was talking with Warren Hinkle. Some of you will recognize his name. Great editor of the old Ramparts magazine, great American publication. The best ever. Apologies to Mr. Broyles, but the Ramparts under Hinkle, I think, was the best ever. And he said, well, what are we going to do? We lost the guy who can connect all the dots. You know, there's nobody like him. I said, no, that's right. And then Hinkle veered off into a description of, he'd just come out of the hospital, he had an operation on his leg, where he'd fallen down on an escalator in New Orleans. And he said, you know, the damnedest thing, they have this new form of surgery, so my foreleg is now, it's reconstructed out of foreskins. I said, oh, bullshit, what are you talking about? Foreskins. He said, no. I go to a wound surgeon, and he's specially trained, gunshot wound, traumatic injuries and stuff. And so I have a foreleg made of foreskins. And he said, I'm pretty sure, I was at St. Mary's, so I'm pretty sure it's a multicultural foreleg at that. Okay. Anyway, he was a great admirer of Alex's, as we all were. The only time he was ever really irritated with me was once a lead, I said the lead on this thing that he'd written. I was nervous. I said, your lead's a little unclear here. He said, what? I said, it seems to me it's a little confused here. You could clear this up. And I know he was thinking, before the great mind engaged, I know he was thinking, this guy's telling me this guy is telling me my lead is a little confused, but he rewrote it. And I was very flattered that I not only one had the courage to mention it to him, but two, that he rewrote it. So, a couple more anecdotes, my experience with him. I first met him when my daughter was still small enough, young enough to think that her father was the smartest guy in the world. You know, 3 or 4 years away from thinking he was the dumbest man in the world. And she said, are you smarter than that man? And I said, well, no, I'm not, actually. No, my dear, I'm not. A few times we went to this place called the Casper Inn. It's a bar just south of the village of Mendocino in Mendocino County. You walk in the place, it's a bar. And they have a dance floor, a little podium in the back. And just a lot of people drinking after work. And Alex started up, and one guy, you know, it was kind of free association because people are yelling stuff from the bar. And the first time we were there, some guy yelled, is this like some kind of Masterpiece Theater deal? You know, what's going on here? I thought this was a music place. And then another time, how we got off the subject, I don't know, but it was apparently pornography. And some guy yells from the bar, well, how about all those fat chicks in the museums? Is that porn? What was brilliant about Cockburn was he could always engage people at whatever level they were coming from. And I remember, you know, he made it very clear distinction between what's, to his mind, to his eye, was pornography and what wasn't. But he was certainly, as it doesn't need saying, that he was certainly a memorable character, and nobody liked him, and he was a very good friend to me, and I hope I was a good friend to him. Thank you.